Hello once again everybody, welcome back to Satisfactory. This is going to be a quick one today because we're going to have a little look around my testbed save. As you can see, here we are. These are our blueprints that we've been dealing with recently. You can see the size of this blueprint designer is absolutely massive. And over here we have the factories I built to test things. Now, over here you can see that the all of the inputs come out the front and there's no glass wall, and yeah, so this is ever so slightly earlier version when I was just trying to build things to get them to work. It's quite interesting looking back on things. So over here you can see that this is the manufacturer factory, and it has the updated routing underneath, but not the one where you've got that at the back. So we'll have a quick look inside because there are a few things that are a little bit in the interesting side regarding this. So obviously, as we have four manufacturers on each side, we're going to have to switch back to the vanilla splitters rather than the that mod I'm using, and yeah, it works. It works pretty much properly. It works pretty much properly. It's just that you can see the belts down the middle now, and of course it works more of a it works as more of a manifold than the other ones do. So yeah, 4 down one side, 4 down the other. Everything's normal in this corner, apart from the fact you've got 4 inputs. Sorry, you've got 4 inputs on each of them. It does get a bit tricky over in this corner. So yeah, you've got the 4 inputs coming up them here, and it kind of encroaches on the space required for this input. So yeah, that's a little bit on the janky side, but there's really not that much room. There's really not enough room to do anything else about it. I suppose we could make it one more foundation wide and get that in that way, but I think that's just a bit of a waste of space. I mean, an extra foundation all the way along here just so we can get this in line with the others. I think that's a perfectly fine trade-off. I think that's perfectly fine. So yeah, we've got a couple of floors. I haven't, obviously this is just a test bed, so I haven't done anything about prettying anything. Just hooking things up, making sure everything works, everything's connected. So the rest of this place is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So I've got all these particle accelerators running. I'm feeding a hell of a lot of copper powder into these. They are all supplied by my train network, which comes from over there. Let's go and have a look at that now. So yeah, this is my train. I only have the one train on this track. I basically created this save just to mess around with trains. That was my initial goal here. I'm just going to add, oh dear, next station copper 3. Why can you not choose which one to do next? Because I'm going to have to get rid of all of these now, because I want to go to copper 1 first, then 2, then 3, or in, dust out, and then the particle accelerators. And it's still got it in the wrong order. It's going to go straight to copper 2 and not copper 1. Why is copper 1 all the way down there? Oh, anyway. We'll just skip copper 1 then, I guess. So yeah, past all of our factories. Over here, this one here is copper 1, which we should be stopping at, but the glitchy timetable won't let us. So this is the original sized blueprint designer. Copper 2 is just up here on this hill. See, this is why I don't like running. This is why I don't like running track just on the terrain. Why did we not stop at copper 2? Next station's copper 3 now, is it? You're supposed to be stopping. Oh well, you get the idea, I suppose. Each of those is attached to copper mines that just fill up over time. And you send this around when you need to. I'm supposed to be a train full of copper. But, yeah. Well, never mind. Never mind. Well, you can hop off and have a little look over here. It's just a copper miner. We only have the one copper miner over here. It's not really worth doing the trip unless you pick up in the other ones as well. But anyway. So the copper comes in here. It comes out into the buffers. You've got 6 really fast conveyor belts here going into this balancer. 3 go up there, 3 along here. These are those blueprints that I created what feels like years ago. Just stacked on top of each other and fed. So one belt comes over here, gets split into 4. Up the lifts and in. The ingots come out, down, into the mergers, and then goes back up. We then have a second floor of them, which joins up here, goes up to this one here, which is where we make all of the copper dust, which then comes down here and joins with the other 3 towers into here and then into this one. So have we unloaded yet? There we go, there's the copper ore going off, doing its business. And that's why we have a splitter. That's why we have a balancer. Because otherwise only one thing would be getting that. Now, I've timed it, and this factory will process an entire train's worth of ore by the time the train comes around again. Obviously you can't really see that here because we've only had the one input. But there we go, we've got these coming up, going in there. Just wait for them to come out. There is a reason why I use so much of this, and it's not to unlock the milestone, not for the ridiculous demands of the space elevator in the late game, and it's still taking some time. Come on. There we go. There we go. Right. So that comes around our space elevator on our hub, our little base down here. Over here to the particle accelerators. Where it gets unloaded. We shouldn't have too much of this actually. But yeah, we've got a load of these producing a load of nuclear pasta. I mean, we've got tons of nuclear pasta. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I'll get to the other bit in just a moment. As this unloads. It's only going to go into these buffers anyway. We've seen all of that before. Right, so over here, of course, we have a couple of nuclear power plants just running away, making nuclear waste. Oh yes, that little jaggy line. Yeah, that's particle accelerators. So we've still got 2 fuel rods in each one. That's perfectly fine. So over here, I've got a couple of custom recipes. I've still got this mod installed. It basically allows you to recycle fuel rods. So I've tried to make it as kind of non-cheaty. So it goes into a particle accelerator. 500 uranium waste, which is the uranium waste from 10 uranium fuel rods. With a nuclear pasta, will give you 8 plutonium fuel rods. But if we look at the recycled uranium fuel rods recipe, which will of course do something down here, 100 plutonium waste comes from 10 plutonium fuel rods, and that gives you 8 uranium fuel rods. So it's not an infinite source. It does lose every time, and you need a nuclear pasta every time. which of course requires quite a bit of logistics to create. I mean, the only thing I've cheated in here is the pressure conversion cubes, because I just couldn't be bothered making them myself. Yeah, I'll let that fill up. Actually, no, we'll switch back to our recycled plutonium. And just put that in there. We'll dump our excess nuclear pasta back in the storage container over here. There we are. So it takes 500 of this. We've got 500. So in the pocket, over here, put it in there. And of course it will take some time to put all those in. Let's have a look at what we've got for supplies over here. I have no idea why this keeps popping up. I keep getting rid of it, but it keeps coming back. Anyway, we've got quite a lot of uranium fuel rods. We've got quite a lot of plutonium fuel rods. Those have been produced recently. In order to really, have an experiment with that, I've got a much bigger nuclear power plant over there that we're going to have a look at in a minute. But these are our batteries that are fully charged now. No, they're not. They're still charging. They're still charging. That's perfectly fine. And we do still have our feed to the first power... what was it? The first power generators that I had, which are over here with coal. So we've got some water extractors. And then just into this little forest where I built my coal power plants. Because coal is right here. This coal is right here. This is a completely separate... this is a completely separate grid because I've cut it off from the rest of it. It's just been sitting here chugging away, burning all this coal for absolutely no reason at all. And some biomass burners just to kickstart everything. Yeah. So that was a nice little bit of history for me. I've also been experimenting with making sulfuric acid. That's over here. Because I haven't yet done that in the legitimate game yet. So, sulfur miner up there. There's a water well, I think it is. A water resource well, so I've been experimenting with that as well over here. It just pressurizes the thing. We get the water out, mix with the sulfur, and we get the sulfuric acid. So let's have a look at our big nuclear power plant. Should we take some stuff over with us? Nah, I think we're fine. It's when I wanted to just burn through fuel rods that I use those. I think I'll take uranium fuel rods over. Oh, there we go. We just about caught the plutonium fuel rods coming there. So we'll just take this whole stack of uranium fuel rods over. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine having all this radioactive material in my pocket. Let's just follow the power line. And we see 8 nuclear power plants, each of them being fed by two water pumps. And it's not as if they're dedicated. It's all shared. All very nice. Yeah, there's nothing in those. So, yeah. It's this one where you put them in. So, obviously, the problem with this is that it's going to put them into the first ones. It's going to load up the nearest ones first. Which is always quite annoying. So it's going to put a third of our uranium rod supply in that one, a third in that one, and then the rest of the factory will get the other third. It's kind of annoying, but there we are. Never mind. Look at all this waste we've got. So, yeah, give this some time and we'll have a ton of waste. Should we want a ton of nuclear waste, of course. So anyway, This is my little test bed. It is most definitely a different save. I could fly over to the to the desert and show you that there's nothing there, but you know, just take my word for it. There's nothing there. You can't see any. There's nothing on the compass. I mean, you can see there's all this stuff here, but there's nothing on the compass in that direction. So yeah, it's not really worth going over and having a look, is it? So yeah, this is kind of a interesting little mess around with bloody huge blueprints, nuclear power, particle accelerators, all the stuff I haven't locked in my main game yet. Just to have a bit of a practice, a bit of a mess around without it being canon. Yes, it's very nice. I do like it down here. It's all green, and I'm not going colourblind from what was it? I'm not going colourblind from being exposed to yellows and oranges in the Dune desert anymore. Anyway, that's pretty much it. So thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed that, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.